Hello everybody and welcome back to another crypto video. The video you're about to watch is definitely one of the crazier videos that I've made about XRP, and this has no technical analysis here. I'm not planning to talk about that today. I want to show you guys something which I still think about almost daily. Alright, almost daily I just think about this and I wonder what you guys think about it as well. So first of all, make sure you press the like button, subscribe, and comment something down below to enter the giveaway or to support the channel. Giving away 100 XRP if we hit 1,500 likes. And let's start out, I guess, with, first of all, why I've been making this video. Alright, and why I'm making this right now. It is because I posted up a question here. So, do any of you guys believe XRP could actually hit 10,000 per coin? And maybe you're watching right now, you're thinking, man, I don't think it could, or man, yes, it could. But why? Why do we think about 10,000 XRP per coin? I completely forgot that the last time we mentioned 10,000 per coin was a couple of months ago, and I also kind of forgot how exactly it came into existence and what it was all about. Until I stumbled upon Mark Phillips, I don't think that's his real name, but maybe it is, his medium here. XRP will be a world reserve currency, and that's when it snapped for me again. I was like, damn, that was what everybody was talking about back in the day. And I kind of got reminded when I kind of put together this CBDC here and the previous video that we made about the billionaires warning everybody about Bitcoin and stuff like that. It kind of clicked together with this 10,000 thing. It kind of clicked together. And I want to briefly show you guys one little video, right? So I'm going to try put my sound here the loudest, and I'm hoping that you guys will be able to hear this. Let's try. I'm not 100% certain, but let's see.
Well, so when XRP was created, this actually was created before Ripple existed. The creators of XRP decided there'd be 100 billion units because they saw it as rather than having a smaller number with a very high price, they saw it as something they wanted to be effectively a global reserve currency.
Okay, so I tried to put the mic in a way where you guys could hear it properly, because I'm not too good with the MacBook just quite yet to record things, but hopefully you guys heard it. I'm going to, of course, check that before launching this video, though. Otherwise, I'm going to have to integrate this, but it's such a low quality video, I do not know. However, his statement by Brad Garlinghouse, if this is real, which I'm still thinking it is definitely very, very interesting. Because, I mean, to a certain degree, it follows along with the theory that XRP will be the world reserve currency, or to something like that extent. On the other side, he also expresses very clearly that just because of that reason, it won't have that high of a price. And, I mean, Stuart here went on a complete rant explaining why it could never replace the US dollar as a global reserve currency, and let's quickly check into this. Stewart, this is September by the way, said, I disagree with Backup Bradley. I believe XRP will not replace US dollar global reserve status. This thread will include sources from Ripple employees that back up my opinion. Be great if you could share this with your audience, being open-minded to show you're not biased. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO at Ripple, USD as the world reserve currency has been the backbone of global financial infrastructure, and that position isn't going to disappear in favor of any currency anytime soon. It's his own words. Thread on this US dollar, yada, yada, yada. He said it in his own words that it's really not going to be changing anytime soon, and that kind of discredits his earlier appearances, because this, of course, came from 2017-18 or so, and this is from I think 2020 even. I think this was this year when he said this. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, I agree that XRP isn't likely to replace fiat currencies. That's his own words once more. I've been very vocal that crypto isn't likely to disrupt the dollar and other G20 currencies in my lifetime. However, he does kind of quote here that in my lifetime thing, which is also a very important hint, as changes like this take a long time, and the world reserve currency is normally there for around, how much was it? 95 years? Right now, the US has been there for about 100. And, technologies disrupt spaces. Now, I'm not going to say that XRP is going to be the world reserve currency or anything like that. Again, I'm not going to be claiming that here because, well, clearly there are some good reasons as to why it won't be. But I want to cover those theories and ideas as to why it, theoretically speaking, could and what if. So again, we can go on for a little bit right here explaining why it won't, something like that. King Solomon here said XRP will not replace the US dollar reserve status. This is almost as crazy as saying the XRP is bigger. Okay, XRP has utility and Ripple has a huge relationship with the largest powers. Isn't that enough? And that is a solid point. To a certain degree, I would say, yeah. But let's also briefly listen to David Schwartz and his beautiful statement. Let me see if I can actually load that one in properly as well. Let's see if we can play this. Give me 1 second. I need to put louder.
A lot of conspiracy theories and speculation on Twitter that people just sort of make things up out of whole cloth. The word hopium is sometimes used to describe this idea that like you see people will see Ripple or they'll see XRP or they'll see some other cryptocurrency and everything going on in the news. There are certainly big things going on that we have not that we don't always announce, but that those conspiracy theories don't have any grounding.
And to a certain degree, he doesn't really, address anything very specifically, but it does bring up the point that a lot of us that have been talking about these crazy heavy things, they don't really have any basis because, well, if you really start to relate it further, the only basis that we have is one of their statements, but this only explains how XRP was created, or at least with what idea XRP was created, which is still positive because, well, theoretically speaking, it may happen at one point, but the chances are a little bit unlikely. And again, if you're thinking 10,000 per XRP, that's a different thing than thinking it will replace the dollar, don't get me wrong, because I sometimes also think about it in a different sense. I think XRP only has the ability to ever get to such prices, which once more are very difficult, don't get me wrong, if the US dollar were to have a major issue going on. If, for example, the US debt became so rapid or grew so rapidly that people would lose their trust in the government, to 0%, where the US dollar is worth almost nothing, like kind of in Venezuela, where $10,000 is kind of equivalent to $50 so to speak. And from that point on, yeah, things might be valued at 10,000 per coin. And that's a lot of the guys' theories. That's what a lot of them claim for and claim about. So this whole article here is actually very interesting, and it's mostly based upon debt and the fact that they need a certain system to fix this up, which I must admit has some basis. It has some basis to understand that its own currency can't fix it. Here, let's read this. He also noted that, this is Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve, the idea that deficits don't matter for countries that can borrow in their own currency, I think is just wrong. That's one part of it all. But also, you guys can also think with me here that right now this national debt is how much? 27 trillion or something like that? Within this short amount of time, it has changed drastically. And I don't think US alone with their US dollars can easily fix this because, well, they're that much in debt. So how would they go about doing that? I don't really get it. But if we move on here, you'll just see a couple of interesting things. XRP is perfectly positioned to serve as a world reserve currency. It can be held in significant quantities to provide liquidity for foreign exchange reserves, international transactions and investments, and all other uses throughout the global economy. In an earlier article, XRP was designed for 10,000, I quoted Ripple Labs co-founder Arthur Brito, who wrote, XRP must be scalable to accommodate 7.5 billion people. Does this mean that it was designed to be used by every human on the planet and to serve as a world reserve currency? Yes and yes. So that's it's definitely interesting. Let's look at XRP's ability to scale. At its creation, a total of 100 billion XRP were created. No more can ever be created, so it's deflationary in nature. Setting aside the fact that some of these XRP have been burned or lost, 100 billion XRP at 10,000 value per XRP would provide 1 quadrillion in total value. That is enough to easily account for the 244 trillion global debt by Bloomberg, as well as 88 trillion global GDP, Statista. By its very nature, XRP is highly liquid, with fast transaction and settlement times. It is also inexpensive to use if it is used as a de facto reserve currency. There is no need to exchange it for fiat currency, though this is also easy to do across multiple currencies and payment networks via the ILP. And actually, this whole thing is kind of based upon the fact that it is used and it is necessary to pay off debt, which is the last part here. It will solve the debt crisis without devaluing fiat currencies, which is why this makes sense. Because I've said before, I think XRP doesn't have to become the world reserve currency because, well, the chances of that happening in our lifetimes are very, very slim. That's one thing. But also, my theories are always based upon devaluation of the US dollar, and his idea here is they're going to solve this debt crisis by not devaluing. For example, the US government and others could buy XRP at a very low OTC rate, which wouldn't drive prices up on the retail exchanges. Likewise, major financial institutions could also stock up on XRP at extremely attractive prices. When all systems, policies, and agreements are in place, they simply announce that XRP will serve as a reserve currency, and this drives utility and demand, which rapidly increases the price of XRP. The governments could then settle their debts using XRP, which would not devalue their fiat because they would not be printing any additional dollars or other fiat currencies. This would explain why the US administration, the IMF, and the World Bank have been so positive about Ripple Labs, XRapid, and XRP. It's not completely true. It would also explain why the SEC and other federal agencies have not yet weighed in on XRP's status as a security or any other type of asset. It would also explain why the price of XRP has been so steady at a low price for more than 15 months, despite a constant stream of positive news about partnerships, production deals, and so forth. My prediction is that we'll see an announcement within the next 24 months, followed by significant sustained price growth for XRP over the course of a decade or more. Two things to say about this. One, he has a very livid imagination that has a lot of good points. So he's drawing these things very far, but I guess there comes in point two. He makes sense in the sense of it could be that Ripple has just really deterred us, has stirred us away from this idea by all the statements that they've made, and they've sometimes kind of hinted towards it. But for me, the thing that blocks this theory and blocks the whole idea of both, so XRP becoming a world reserve currency and $10,000 per coin, is first of all that a world reserve currency is never worth that much in its own thing. If you guys get me, like $10,000 per XRP would then just be, $1 would be worth $10,000 would be worth 1 XRP. That's one way we would have to view it, not the other way around, kind of. At least the base should then be XRP. So you'd have to value the dollar in terms of XRP, not XRP in terms of dollars. I know you can do it around because you could also just say, $1 is worth such and such ounces of gold. You could. I'm just saying if the US dollar is not the base anymore, but XRP is, we should be switching it. But also that his statement right here from Ripple, as I've showed you guys a couple of minutes ago right now, is kind of contradictory because he basically says that they did not choose a low supply like Bitcoin did to get lower prices to be more like a world reserve currency, which kind of counters itself, right? Because you would kind of think if you're going to go for world reserve currency-ish coin, you're going to keep lower prices. But then again, you're more accessible to become a world reserve currency. So to a certain degree, it's possible to do either. It will not replace the US dollar as America's main currency. It could, theoretically speaking, again, very, 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 very small chance, it could, theoretically speaking, be used to erase debt. That could be. I think some freaking wars would erupt, though, if they were to go for something like that. I mean, that would be kind of weird. And I also don't really get that system once more, because then if the US were to put it out loud that they wanted XRP as a world reserve currency, I don't really think that it's really possible to. It could go for either, but it can't go both. That's my stance upon the situation. The only way it can happen is if the US dollar were to really completely devalue itself. However, sometimes I do forget though that this is all part of a bigger plan. And to a certain degree that this is just one of my least concerns when I'm talking about the bigger picture. The economists are or have been talking about some greater resets and some greater movements of money and some greater movements for a very long time. Now, this one here is not the great reset in a way that I like to view it sometimes. It's more so talking about things becoming more green and more environmental friendly and smarter growth and stuff like that. This one, however, is already putting the nail in the coffin, talking, for example, about a gold standard, which a lot of you guys don't like. However, it is very, very popular. Get that. This one, by the way, is also very, very popular for a Medium article. Got 1,000 claps or likes or something like that, which is a lot for an article of this proportion. Very, very huge amount. And the reason I'm actually calling these things kind of logical or normal is because of what they claim in the broader sense. Okay, let's see here. If you don't think the central bank digital currencies are coming, you are missing the big and important picture. And this was written in October here. And I mean, we can kind of confirm right now already that CBDCs are coming for sure. Raoul Paul tweeted on Sunday morning, This is going to be the biggest overhaul of the global financial system since Bretton Woods. This IMF article alludes to a huge change coming, but lacks real clarity outside of allowing much more fiscal stimulus via monetary mechanisms. And tomorrow the IMF holds a conference on digital currencies and cross-border payment systems. Raul said, fiat globally will be worth less versus hard assets, and that means that gold, and in particular BTC, will overcome the way to circumvent the system of ever lower value. It also creates incentive systems for other nations to opt into a hard currency system to attract capital. And one fun thing is Raul has actually gone away from gold completely to invest only in Bitcoin and Ethereum, he noticed a couple of days ago. But yeah, I think we all know what the Bretton Woods system is all about, but a lot of people are really putting this into play right now. All right, and a lot of these theories that they're talking about this, and I don't want to go too far into it because I don't know how YouTube's how YouTube likes this, because it's not necessarily conspiracy, but it's like, it's a little bit heavier than my usual YouTube stuff, and I've already had a couple of issues now, guys, so that's why I'm kind of careful with that. But I'm showing it here in the video, so I'm hoping you guys are going to pause it and quickly read through here. Quickly do that. Just pause it and read through, because it's definitely going to be worth your time. It's something interesting, all right? That's all I'm going to say about this one for right now. It's something very interesting that I recommend you guys to read, all right? It takes a minute, read it. I just don't want to read it out loud here because I'm kind of afraid about what YouTube thinks about me talking about these systems. The same for these things here at the right. Every time I mention government itself, I'm already feeling kind of watched on, which, it shouldn't really be that way if you're making a YouTube video. But every time I talk about stimulus, or especially about the pandemic that's going around right now, yeah, I kind of feel like YouTube is just watching me very closely, right? I already had a problem with that a couple of months ago now already, but I don't want to have that again. So I'm really careful with what I show or what I read out loud. But I'm thinking if I show it like this, it's not really going to matter too much, right? So kind of feeling it like that. These things, though, they don't do well on YouTube. They like to ban that quickly. So be careful with whatever you shout out. However, I've been thinking about this for a very long while. I've been thinking about this, and it kind of disturbs me in a certain way that crypto is so much the future, and we're kind of not feeling it too much yet. Like, all these theories are out there, and people just ignore them, and they go on with their normal day-to-day lives, and without ever thinking about what's going on in the back of everything, and what's going on in the back end, and what these huge players are talking about every single day, and what they're trying to hide to a certain degree, right? We all know there's a bigger thing at play, and we all know that it's time for change. We don't know what type of change, but it's time for change as things are becoming a lot more digital, and I guess digital payments are going to be the new standard. XRP, or at least Ripple system, is taken over with freaking force, it kind of feels like. And everything has become digital because of the last 9 months, if you guys know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we can't really confirm anything just quite yet. I'm just kind of sure that if XRP were to be 10,000, it would not be the world reserve currency. And if it were to be the world reserve currency, it would not be 10,000. But theoretically speaking, either is possible, yet throwing away the US dollar would be a very difficult move. First mover, Bitcoin's failure to break 20K shows big investors are only just arriving. It's one thing I've been thinking about here as well. I think a lot of big guys have actually bought Bitcoin but have never told us. Like, I'm talking a couple of billionaires, in the back of my head that have been accumulating for a very long while. And I'm sometimes thinking maybe a Mark Zuckerberg or so, who's just been buying, let's say, I don't know, just call a number, $1 billion worth, for example. And it's just never announced that, because I think a lot of these players know as well, if they were to say it out loud, first of all, it would possibly affect, the company that they are known for. But also, it could propel, and if you're trying to buy something, well, you don't really want it to propel just quite yet, right? So, for example, if Apple were to put all their reserves in Bitcoin, they would most definitely try to hide that SEC statement for as long as possible until they had bought it. A lot of the times it's not possible because those documents get leaked and stuff, but they would try. So, especially these private billionaires, they don't really have any incentive to tell unless they're already done buying and they think we need to go up right now, or they're, anything along those lines. So, breaking or not breaking 20K, in my opinion, is another thing of they just want to buy cheap, right? Because I think 20K is just the start of where we're going to be going. But this article is freaking long, so again, you can read it, but it takes some time. Bitcoin analysts explain what will happen to Bitcoin after crash. Well, Just, I mean, use your logic. If we crash, afterwards you're going to be going back upwards. So what's the point of this? Here's how Bitcoin could spark a massive move higher for smaller altcoins. We've said that before. It usually goes so where Bitcoin gains first and altcoins move a little bit later than that. Why it's financially irresponsible not to buy Bitcoin right now? Well, it's kind of the way that you got to diversify your portfolio, and thus, if you're holding majority or in majority fiat, you're kind of missing out on the other side of things, so that's kind of scary. And trading veteran Peter Brandt argues that Bitcoin price is targeting 50K, but I think Peter Brandt is just a huge pile of rubbish, so whatever he says, I just really try to ignore it as much as I possibly can. And I just want to give you guys one more fun fact. A guy came up to me really recently explaining why I should be investing my money. All right, and I was telling him, like, okay, so what do you suggest? He's like, this company called Tesla? You should go for that. This other company called Amazon? Yeah. This other company called Alphabet? Those three are crazy. You should be going for that. I was just looking at him like, yeah, you sure, bro? All right. Because, I mean, he has a point, right? Those are three behemoths of companies, but nothing in comparison to what we're holding. Nothing in comparison. So, yeah, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think about these theories. You can check out Unstoppable Demands and all the other links I have below. They're pretty cool. And also make sure you check out the Discord. A link is in the description below. I don't think I have it open anymore here, do I? Oh, yeah, I do. Check out Discord, guys. Check out Discord. It looks like this. I'm going to be posting more in here, but just check it out, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video. This is not financial advice, by the way. None of this.